Welcome to United Network News, the official news channel for CARE, the Center for Amity and Restoration of Earth. I'm Sunny Galt. Happy New Year, everyone. At UNN, you get the real news. Through our field messengers, we show you the truth about what's really taking place in our communities. We also bring you stories to help you remember who you are and why you're here, as well as regional stories that impact the people. And our World Situation Report reveals what's happening throughout the multiverse. We are here to restore Earth. In the U.S., it is Monday, January 1st, 2024. We're headed to Nigeria to see one of the main roads, which desperately needs some help. Major improvements need to be made so people can travel. And in Australia, we're sitting in the driver's seat to get a first-hand look at how to harvest grain. In the new Earth, are you experiencing Ascension symptoms? What can you expect? And is there a way to reduce them? It's a new year and more people are making resolutions. But do they really work? We'll show you the data.
This is Calen Giff, messenger for United Network News. Here's a look at today's field messenger reports from all around the world. Condition of a main road in Nigeria, currently in dire need of repair, greatly impacts the daily lives of locals. UNN field messenger Ugwuowo shows us how difficult it is to commute in his area.
This is field messenger Ugwuowo. As you can see, I'm on a highway at Igbo land in Nigeria. There is an urgent needed attention in this road that I'm just covering now. The latest update news towards this road that connects to all the currently of Nigeria road networks. But for many years, this road are gradually deteriorating. And as you can see, it has come to a final breakage to the extent that only lorries is what is passing through. In most cases, pass a very long distance to go in a very short distance that's supposed to cover. So here need an urgent attention. Yes, need an urgent attention because every economic movement, every business is now being standstill because as the goods are not being delivered as it's expected to, everything is gradually being broken down. Yes, I love you all, and I will continue to give us the updates in as much any necessary important information within my locality is concerned. I remain a field messenger representative is to Ugwuowo. Farewell, and I continue to encourage my fellow field messenger. Let us continue to up and do it. Yes, this is what it takes to have a better world, because immediately an awareness is created, then at due time there will be an urgent attention that will show a good restoration program that Kim and our team has already come up with, and that is our hope. We have a better world. I love you all, for it is a great privilege to be here with us. Thank you all. Bye.
Have you ever wondered what is involved in the process of harvesting grain? UNN field messenger Stanton takes us for a ride on a grain harvester in Western Australia.
Hello, United Network News. Field messenger Stanton reporting from Western Australia, and we're harvesting oats. So this is actually an oat crop which has been grown this season in 2023. Pretty good oat crop. We've got a yield somewhere around, averaging 4.5 tonne, peaking at probably 7 tonne for the hectare, which is a pretty good crop considering what most farmers are having to deal with. But this is how we harvest a crop in Western Australia based all sorts of different variations of farm machinery. But we use an old chaser bit with a tractor pulling it, and we've got the harvester that's harvesting oats now, and we've got in the back here, you can see, and so we can oats up. All right, fantastic. And this is the operator, just so you can see. Right, fantastic. How exciting. There we go. It's a little bit hard because I'm trying to operate a machine and do the reporting all at the same time. So we've got fantastic Sarah in the tractor there, and all's good in Western Australia. Okay, let's create this beautiful new world. Fantastic. This is Stanton reporting for United Network News.
We want you to become a UNN field messenger. These are everyday people just like you who want to make a difference in their community. You don't need any special training or equipment. Just use the camera on your mobile phone and show us what's happening in your area. You send us your videos and our production team will create the report for you. And we have a new email address for you to send your reports to. It's fieldmessenger@unitednetwork.earth. Please send your reports through WeTransfer or a Google Doc link. You'll be able to submit your reports through our website again once we have relaunched it. For ideas and inspiration, we encourage you to join our Field Messenger group on Telegram. This is a new one. Field Messenger reports are your opportunity to share news from your area with the world. Now, here is the big moment we've all been waiting for. Today is the day we announce our grand prize winner. This person submitted a Field Messenger report during the last quarter of 2023, making them eligible for this grand prize, which is a smartphone with a great camera you can use to record your Field Messenger reports. And, you ready? Our grand prize winner is Annette from British Columbia, Canada. And I believe that's a screenshot from her latest report. Annette, thank you for being a UNN Field Messenger and participating in our giveaway. Our news team will be in touch with you shortly to coordinate sending you your prize. And of course, a big thank you to all of our Field Messengers who are helping us change the face of news. We'll have another giveaway later this year.
Hello, I'm Susan from Sweden.
Wanda Michael from Eastern Uganda, Africa.
Hi, I'm Tim from Vancouver, Canada.
I'm Titeshwar from Manipur State, India. I'm Gumba Obasi from Southeast Nigeria.
Arnaito Chaklini from Western Uganda, Mbarara.
At United Network News, you are the news.
My name's Christina, Field Messenger, report first one in the hurricane down here in Southern California from Mexico.
Real people reporting real stories from all around the world. At UNN, our field messengers are changing the face of news.
This is Jason from United Network News. We're going to be doing some aircrete building with new technologies that allow us to live in comfort and also off the grid.
Take the next step in changing the way the world gets the news. Become a UNN field messenger today.
I am Michelle from South Africa, and we are the United Network News.
I am United Network News.
I'm United Network News.
If it is going to be, then it's up to me.
If it's going to be, it's up to me.
Si va a ser así, depende de mí. It's up to me.
It's up to me.
It's up to me.
It's up to all of us. We're UNN.
Ascending from the third dimension through the fourth dimension and into the fifth dimension, well, that's quite a bit of traveling. And as a result, your body could experience ascension symptoms. Carrie Kay has a popular YouTube channel that gives straight talk about spiritual truths such as ascension, energy, timelines, manifestation, and the false matrix. So we're talking about Ascension today, specifically the symptoms that come along with that. Now, you may even not realize that you're experiencing these type of symptoms, but they're there. And so we're going to share with you what these symptoms might be, and then also, how you can get through this time period, right? Because it can be pretty emotional. There's a lot of stuff going on, right, Carrie?
Absolutely. And it's a bombardment as well. It's not one thing at a time. The universe isn't polite. It doesn't knock on your door and say, would you just take this one little life lesson today? No, it dumps it all on your lap at the same time and says, let's go, baby. Yes. It's wake up time. Yeah. And then we can go into overwhelm. And that's really what Ascension symptoms are. It's the body in overwhelm. And it's the body trying to adjust to a new frequency and a new way of being, but holding resistance. That's what causes what we call Ascension symptoms. A lot of people use this reference. They say, for example, I've got ringing in my ears. I've got a buzzing feeling. I'm feeling vertigo. I'm feeling dizzy. And then normally a very spiritual friend will pipe up and say, oh, those are Ascension symptoms. And they'll say, whenever the frequency, like the Schumann resonance, which is Earth's measurable heartbeat, right? They'll say, whenever there is a big surge of energy on the planet, we have Ascension symptoms, and they can be all of these strange symptoms that so many people seem to exhibit at the same time. The Ascension symptoms are very, very similar to what you would experience if you dove underwater and went very, very deep. You're going to get pressure in the ears. You're going to feel discombobulated. And then imagine if you came back up to the surface and you came back up too quickly, boy, oh boy, you're really going to get the bends. You're going to get seriously sick, seriously ill. Because what you're trying to do is acclimate to two different frequencies. So we experience exactly the same thing here. And it's a perfect analogy, thinking of the Ascension symptoms as us diving down deep and then coming up too quickly. Because what we are rising up into is a liquid crystalline energy. So as much as it's not wet to the touch, as we evolve into a 5D frequency and a 5D world, it is, for want of a better word, a watery world, but it's not a wet water. It's a water that we can breathe. It is a liquid crystalline energy. So instead of diving down and coming up, we're actually doing the opposite. We're actually rising up into the liquid crystalline and then coming back down again. And that discombobulates the body, and we lose our senses and our sensibility. And you know what makes it really difficult is when a lot of people have what I call a foot in each world, meaning they've got 1 foot in 3D and 1 foot in 5D. The 3D foot is all about control, and it's all about not trusting, and it's all about fear-driven and lack, and the fear of lack, and division, and blame, and the fear of being wrong. All of that stuff is the 3D old conditioning. We're not wrong for having it. We're pretty damn good, because that's exactly what we were entrained to participate in, was the false matrix and all of its ploys. So it's okay that we've still got that footing, so to speak, in the old world. But then equally, we've got a new world that is in the process of establishing. And every now and then we dip a toe into those waters, or sometimes even stand there with our whole body. And that's when we experience levels of enlightenment, like a spontaneous epiphany, a realization that we think, where did that come from? It was something so deep, so profound. I'm changed. I'm moved. I've reached a level of energy that I couldn't access before. That's when we're starting to dip into that 5D water. We're starting to experience the loss of boundary and the beginning of unity. And then we come out and we go, oh, no, I've got to pay my mortgage. And, oh, what if I don't have enough food? And all of that 3D survival-based stuff. That is the Ascension symptom. It's the body trying to acclimate between those two places and saying, help, I can't. Because it actually can't. It's not designed to live in two worlds. And that is literally what those two frequencies are. although they exist in the same space, they are, for all intents and purposes, they are two worlds. So the most important thing that we can do to stabilize ourselves into one space is make a choice. Make a choice. That's where your power lies. I choose a higher path, for example, or I choose a connection to my higher self, to divinity, to 5D, to new earth, whatever terminologies you want. Make a choice that says, this is my alignment. But then follow it up with this. Follow it up with, I don't know how. Because you know what most brains are going to do? Most brains are wired to the third dimension. So the moment you say, I choose 5D, the brain's going to go, oh yeah, how are you going to do that? I choose love. Oh yeah, how are you going to live there? I choose forgiveness. Oh right, how are you going to forgive? So what you do to circumvent that that guilt trip that the brain's going to take you on and weave you into circles and circles and circles is you say, I don't know how. Don't know how I'm going to make this choice happen, but I'm willing. I'm willing. So as an example, I don't know how to ascend into the fifth dimension right now because I don't, but I'm willing to. So I've made my choice. I choose a higher outcome, and I'm willing to allow that to happen. That is your conscious alignment, your conscious affiliation. That's the beginning of giving your body a direction. And the moment your body has a direction, it's going to stop floundering between the two worlds, and the ascension symptoms will start to abate.
Laughter yoga is a modern exercise that combines voluntary laughing with yoga breathing. It aims to promote health, happiness, and world peace. From humble origins in India in 1995, it has grown into an international movement with over 16,000 laughter clubs, I love that, in 120 countries. Research shows the brain does not distinguish between fake laughter and the real thing. Either way, it releases happy chemicals called endorphins, which lower stress levels, relax muscles, and relieve physical pain. Anyone can join, and many clubs are still free. There is no need to memorize techniques. Club leaders demonstrate each exercise, and then everybody starts together. No equipment is required, not even a sense of humor, which can be developed for free. Ongoing research has revealed additional benefits of a 20-minute session. Laughing boosts immunity, increases heart rate, lowers blood pressure, and lowers blood sugar. It massages internal organs, elevates oxygen intake, and speeds up metabolism. Endorphins also lift mood, so people living with depression can feel immediate relief. There are important social advantages to meeting like-minded people who intend to laugh. Club members become friends and look out for each other. Lonely people can find playful companions and laugh despite their problems as the fake laughter turns to real, joyful mirth. In the corporate world, laughter-based exercises are a popular team-building tool. They enhance concentration, creativity, and stress management among employees. Laughter helps to create a positive mental attitude to deal with negative situations. It stimulates optimism to cope during difficult times while relieving physical pain and stress. If you want to raise your vibration quickly, laughter yoga is good medicine. The Japanese New Year is one of the most significant and cherished celebrations in Japan. This time of year, it's filled with symbolic rituals, family gatherings, and delicious traditional foods, all intended to usher in luck and good fortune. On New Year's Eve, while other cultures are partying, Japanese families commonly undertake a deep cleaning of their homes. Nothing is left untouched, allowing the coming year to begin with a blank page. Workers complete all outstanding work before year end. They often attend year forgetting parties where they drink and forget any hardships of the past year and look forward to the next. As the new year begins at midnight, huge bells are rung across the country. Many families watch the first sunrise and make the traditional first shrine visit of the year. Shrines and temples are extremely busy at this time, with famous locations hosting millions of visitors. On January 1st, an assortment of small meals featuring different colors and tastes with particular meaning is served in special boxes. All cooking is done before the new year, and only serving is allowed during these festivities. Another important tradition is sending New Year's postcards to family and friends. The Japanese post office sells pre-printed postcards, each with a unique number which could win a prize. People handwrite their expressions of gratitude and hopes for future kindness and post by December 25th to guarantee delivery on January 1st. The new year brings a fresh start in Japanese tradition. Old problems can be left behind, and gratitude and kindness are openly expressed to friends and loved ones. What a great way to start any year with optimism for a bright and better future. Well, New Year is a time when we typically make resolutions to improve ourselves and make positive changes in our lives. Does this common practice of making New Year's resolutions really work? A recent study of Americans revealed that only a small percentage of those who set these goals actually achieve them, while almost half the people quit by the end of January. The study identified the main reasons for the high failure rate. The perceived pressure to make resolutions often outweighs an individual's desire to make the changes. Motivation tends to be stronger when objectives are based on a vision for the future rather than this popular goal-setting tradition. Identifying potential barriers and creating contingency plans helps individuals maintain their optimism and lessens the chance of setbacks. The study emphasized the effectiveness of breaking down goals into smaller, challenging, yet achievable milestones. This approach keeps individuals motivated and offers a sense of progress with the celebration of small victories. The power of accountability was highlighted. People who write down their objectives and find ways to keep themselves accountable are twice as likely to fulfill them. Methods of accountability include sharing goals with a friend, joining a supportive group, tracking progress, or hiring a coach. Any day is a good day to make improvements and can inspire us to continue even if we falter, keeping us on the path to a bright and better future. Want to share news from UNN with your friends and family? Memes are a great way to get the conversation going, and here's today's UNN meme of the day. It says, become the anchor for source light on this planet. When you anchor the light, you transmute the darkness. Remember, you are here on this planet for a reason. And it's not a perfect planet to say the least, but regardless of what life throws at you, you are here to hold the light, which is pure source energy. To see more memes just like this one, follow our Meme Team Telegram channel at UNN Memes. Share them on Telegram and any other social media channels where you still have an account. Now, a look at regional stories around the world. Turkey is dramatically increasing its minimum wage to help households struggling with soaring living costs. But will it be enough? Google settles a huge privacy lawsuit shortly before their trial date. It's expected to cost the company at least $5 billion. Mexico plans to open a massive super pharmacy to overcome pharmaceutical regulation and distribution. And employees at a chip factory in Australia develop skin issues due to a flaming hot, spicy seasoning. A powerful 7.6 magnitude earthquake has hit central Japan, leading to disruption in flights, rail services, and causing power outages in thousands of homes. The earthquake has already caused visible damage, with buildings collapsing and roads cracking. Telecom services have been disrupted, and flights to these regions have been canceled or turned back. As a safety measure, residents are advised to evacuate areas where tsunamis are expected. Many residents evacuated to nearby schools immediately after the earthquake hit. The aftermath of the quake continues to disrupt day-to-day life, with many individuals unsure of when they can return home. Turkey has announced a significant 49% increase in the minimum wage, ramping it up to 520 euros or $574 per month starting this year. This move, which comes in the wake of an alarming 62% inflation rate, is set to benefit roughly 1/3 of Turkey's population who are currently earning the minimum wage. Despite the relief it brings to households struggling with soaring living costs, experts warn this could further fuel the already rampant inflation. Turkey's central bank has been trying to counter the escalating inflation and currency crisis with a series of interest rate hikes, the latest being at 42.5%. However, the bank has hinted at a halt in rate increments soon. In China, several property developers have filed for bankruptcy, leaving behind countless incomplete pre-sold homes. Desperate homeowners who've invested their life savings are expressing their frustrations and desperation on social media platforms like TikTok. Many families are struggling financially, barely making ends meet due to hefty mortgage payments for properties that remain incomplete. The crisis is also giving rise to numerous protests, a majority led by home buyers over issues such as project delays and alleged fraud. However, attempts to voice their concerns are often met with police repression. Experts estimate that around $448 billion is required to complete the unfinished projects, which represent nearly 20 million homes. McDonald's Malaysia is taking legal action against the Boycott, Divestment and Sanctions, or BDS, Malaysia movement, alleging that its business has been negatively impacted due to the movement's social media posts. These posts made connections between the fast food giant and Israel's conflict with Palestine, leading to a decrease in profits and job losses. McDonald's Malaysia is seeking $1.31 million in damages from BDS Malaysia. The lawsuit has been confirmed by McDonald's Malaysia as it aims to protect its rights and interests in the country, while BDS Malaysia denies any fault. This dispute comes in the backdrop of increased tensions in Gaza, causing activists in predominantly Muslim countries to launch boycott campaigns against companies thought to have ties with Israel. Other companies targeted include Coca-Cola, Starbucks, KFC, Nestle, and IBM. Seoul, South Korea's capital, experienced its heaviest December snowfall in more than 40 years this past Saturday. The snowfall reached a significant 12.2 centimeters or 4.8 inches, marking a record not seen since 1981. Despite the weather conditions, there have been no reports of casualties or injuries. However, the heavy snow did contribute to traffic congestion in Seoul and other regions, causing difficulties for commuters and residents alike. Google has settled a lawsuit accusing the tech giant of secretly tracking individuals' internet usage, even when they believed they were browsing privately. The settlement was reached ahead of a trial due to start in 2024, and while financial details remain undisclosed, it was anticipated that the lawsuit could have cost Google at least $5 billion. The collective action lawsuit, filed on behalf of millions of Google users since 2016, argued that the company's tools allowed it to monitor users' personal interests and habits, even when privacy settings were activated on browsers. This alleged breach of privacy rights potentially exposed users to targeted advertising and other unwelcome intrusions. More details of the settlement will be disclosed for court approval by late February of this year. U.S. teens are finding ways around restrictions on fruit-flavored disposable e-cigarettes, contributing to a chaotic $7 billion vaping market. More than 11,500 unique products are available, a 27% increase from last year. Despite the FDA's efforts to ban certain products, manufacturers swiftly adjust and launch new ones. Nearly all new items are disposable e-cigarettes, generating $3.2 billion this year. Illegally imported products are often disguised as different items, further complicating the issue. Meanwhile, the few FDA-authorized tobacco-flavored products remain unpopular, making up only 2.4% of the market. Delays and difficulties facing the FDA's approval process have sparked doubts about the effectiveness of the current regulatory framework for e-cigarettes. McKinsey & Company, a well-known consulting firm, has agreed to a $78 million settlement to legal claims from health insurers and funds. Their work with pharmaceutical companies allegedly aggravated the opioid crisis. And this isn't their first payout either. In 2021, they paid nearly $600 million to several U.S. states and territories, and another $230 million to school districts and local governments. The latest settlement still requires judicial approval, but is intended to compensate insurers, benefit plans, and others who bore the brunt of the opioid-related costs. These costs include the price of addictive prescription drugs and the subsequent addiction treatments. McKinsey maintains its past work was lawful and ended its advisory role in opioid-related business in 2019. Mexico recently revealed a massive warehouse for storing medications, aiming to overcome the country's long-standing issues with pharmaceutical regulation and distribution. The past years have seen numerous protests from parents of children with cancer unable to secure crucial chemotherapy drugs. In some instances, contagious diseases have claimed lives due to the improper storage and usage of anesthesia in response to morphine's shortage. The president's decision to directly purchase all medications, bypassing private suppliers and importers, aggravated the problem. This move, coupled with a lack of governmental infrastructure and experience, has resulted in significant increases in unfilled prescriptions. An overly centralized system and the increase of fake medicines in the market further compound these issues. Employees at Smith's Chip Factory in Adelaide are reportedly suffering from respiratory and skin problems due to a spicy seasoning used in the production of Doritos Flamin' Hot corn chips. The United Workers Union has noted that workers have reported issues including sneezing, coughing, eye and skin irritation, sore throat, chest discomfort, and difficulty breathing. The factory produces the spicy snack every few weeks, resulting in the dispersal of irritating seasoning across the production area. Despite safety measures currently in place, including mandatory mask wearing and the installation of extraction fans, the issue persists. Some workers are considering sick leave due to the stressful situation. Colombia has announced a 12% increase in the minimum wage for 2024. This takes the minimum monthly wage to 1.3 million pesos, or $340, up by 140,000 pesos, or $36.63. However, this wage increase falls short of the 2023 rise when the government raised it by 16%. This year's wage hike decision was taken without an agreement with industry leaders despite multiple meetings, leading to a potential standoff between the government and business groups. The wage increase is expected to alleviate some of the hardships faced by Colombians as the country struggles with high inflation and economic slowdown. Queen Margaret II of Denmark, Europe's longest-serving monarch, has decided to abdicate after a 52-year reign, passing the throne to her son, Crown Prince Frederik. The Queen made the announcement during her New Year's speech, indicating that her abdication will occur on January 14th, the anniversary of her ascension to the throne. The decision was influenced by health concerns following a back surgery in 2023. Danish Prime Minister's statement indicates a positive outlook towards the future as Crown Prince Frederik and Crown Princess Mary prepare to take over the royal responsibilities. Frederick has been groomed for this role since birth, having served his regent during his mother's absences and performed official duties, which include meeting thousands of citizens and foreign dignitaries. In Norway, Oslo's new fleet of electric buses has faced criticism due to alleged performance issues in freezing temperatures. Rumors spread across social media and international tabloids, suggesting that the cold was severely impacting the vehicle's battery life and range. I got it out. These allegations were used by many to question Norway's ambitious goals and to phase out diesel and petrol engines in the coming years. Ruter, the operator of Oslo's electric buses, however, has disputed these claims. While acknowledging some challenges due to the cold weather, the company stressed that the situation was vastly exaggerated and that they had managed the issue by adjusting charging shifts and improving charging infrastructure. The core issue lies in the fact that the cold weather slows down the reactions in batteries, reducing the range of electric vehicles and extending charging time. Despite these challenges, experts believe that these issues can be managed with strategic organization and planning. Kenya plans to implement a program to combat the issue of counterfeit cell phones, despite concerns of privacy infringement from digital rights activists. The new device management system program aims to stop the distribution of fake and stolen devices, which currently make up more than half of all counterfeit products in Kenya. Critics argue the program, which grants the communications regulator access to unique cell phone identification numbers, is a form of spyware and a breach of privacy. They warn that the government and telecom operators could potentially gain access to personal user data, including calls, messages, and financial transactions. The Communications Authority of Kenya, however, counters that the system is designed to disconnect services to illegal devices without accessing personal information. Economic conditions in Nigeria have severely impacted the festive season, causing a noticeable decline in the number of concerts and events. Rising inflation triggered by policy changes, such as the floating of the currency and removal of fuel subsidies, has led to a decline in disposable income for many Nigerians. People have started to limit their expenses and are opting out of the usual festive activities. Ticket prices for music shows, a popular feature of Nigeria's festive season, have risen sharply, becoming unaffordable for many. The increased cost of basic goods and transportation, particularly ride-hailing services, have further constrained people's ability to partake in the festive fun. Many have resorted to attending free or smaller events, or corporate end-of-the-year parties where they don't have to buy tickets. With Nigerians spending 97% of their income on food, little is left for other essentials, let alone entertainment. Want the latest updates from UNN? Be sure to follow our channel on Telegram. It's called United Network News Channel, and you can just search for it. This is our official Telegram channel. It's where you'll find direct links to our newscasts and our in-depth field messenger reports. And we would also like to introduce you to CARE's new Health and Wellness Department. Newly ratified, you can connect with the Center for Health and Wellness of Earth, or CHWE community, by joining the Telegram channel, and you can search for it again. It is called Center for Health Wellness of Earth. CARE, the Center for Amity and Restoration of Earth, will be adding several channels over the next several weeks where you can join the conversation in the different areas of restoration. And now, the World Situation Report with Kimberly Gogan from the Office of the Guardian. Happy New Year! This is the year all of creation has changed. The best is yet to come. Today we're going to discuss disease, how it was created, and how some people can be used as conduits. Have you ever wondered how to heal yourself? Today, it all begins. Now here's Kimberly Gogan with the Office of the Guardian on camera. Yay!
I know. Happy New Year. We have a lot to discuss. And I've got my whiteboard here. I know you guys all can't wait for that. So loads of things are happening around here. I mean, We just talked about the new Center for Health and Wellness of Earth.
Yep.
We will be launching the other divisions as well over time. Our staff is still kind of muddling through logos and changing things and that kind of stuff. So we'll be, I would say we need to just make sure that we have enough people to kind of go in there and create all those Telegram threads. I certainly can't manage them all myself. I have other things I do, as you know, which is how I bring you this news. So,
right.
But we're moving as fast as we can. We're actually moving really fast, Sunny, don't you think?
I think we are. The energy is just very positive and uplifting. I'm totally digging it. I love it.
I know, me too.
Yeah.
And it's actually positive for a lot of different reasons. So we talked last time about the Genesis project. Last time I think you and I were together, and I might have touched on it a little bit. This is the biggest thing that is happening right now. And it will help you have a better understanding if I just kind of explain it to you. And I want you to please, because if you don't understand it, Sunny, nobody else is going to understand it. And so please interrupt me and ask questions.
Okay.
So first I'm going to tell you exactly, and I'm going to kind of draw it out so you understand how you were made. Not only you personally, but how the entire universe was made. And it's important to understand this because it existed still within your person, and then how everything goes. So, all right, so we know about anti-source. Okay, and we had source. Now, for lack of a better term, you could say it looked like, two halves of a whole. And it was separated. The darkness was created, the light was created, and then it was separated, and quote unquote, he saw that it was good. So by separated, that means that if you were to look at the universe as a whole, it's somewhat, varying layers of ellipticals, but all of those would have been connected to both source and anti-source. And to some degree, there was anti-source and source and source and anti-source. So we did have a dueling universe at the base level. But
we can't really see the bottom, just so you know, whatever you're writing at the bottom. Yeah. It kind of cuts off, at the bottom of the diamond.
Okay, here we go. And then I just put to some degree, right? So where we would have had equal parts here, it almost looks like your yin and yang, and it would be up here. So where you would have here, you would have mostly light with maybe a spot of darkness, and you'd have mostly darkness with a small spot of light down here, a ball of light, essentially. Now, both sectors, to understand this fully, are made of essence, which is basically your soul essence. So you also have essence. And then you would have had, in addition to essence, you would have had energy. In addition to essence and energy, you would have consciousness. Oh, I can't spell here. Yeah, there we go. Okay. So essence, energy, and consciousness. Now, everything that exists is made up of essence, energy, and consciousness. You are as well. You are nothing but a walking ball of essence, energy, and consciousness. Every cell in your body is made up of this. Every planet, every star, everything in the multiverse is made up of these things. Equally so, okay, this is the creation of the sea that is mentioned. Essence, energy, and consciousness down here too. And I'm probably going to run off the page again. It's Mike's fault. Okay. Now, the original agreement, for lack of a better term, in the Hall of Records was this was the birth of all creation. Okay? First, source split, separated the light from the darkness. Then we had consciousness, energy, and essence, which is what essentially makes up of the flower of life and the flower of anti-life, because there are both. The two together come together and make matter. So every cell in your body, everything within you, everything within the multiverse has dark consciousness, dark energy, dark essence, dark energy, and light essence, light energy, and light consciousness.
Okay, yeah.
So people talk about raising your vibration and, you know, all of this stuff, but you always, to some degree, have dark consciousness, dark energy, dark essence, because if you didn't, you wouldn't exist. The same thing that goes for the planet as a whole. Now, the further up you go in the multiverse, let's just call this densities, right? We'll call this 3. And so the further up you go in the multiverse, this is why it's called the 12th universes. So we had a 12 up and 12 down. The higher up you go from here to source, the more light essence, light energy, and light consciousness you have in your person. Therefore, and the less dense you are based on the closeness and proximity to source. The same thing goes for down here. So you hear people talk about, we've talked about anti-humans, we've talked about a lot of different things. So the creation then had a second co-creation, okay? So the second co-creator to create this side of the multiverse and all its beings and all its suns and all its stars was Lucifer. So we had Lucifer, anti-source, consciousness, energy, and essence as well. That created what the different beings that used to exist in the lower astral. These are the ones that you refer to as demons. They're the ones with, now the further you get up from here to the third density, the more light those beings are. Plants, planets, so on and so forth. And the further down you get here, the more dense matter is as well, because we're getting closer to the anti-consciousness, anti-energy, and anti-essence.
Okay.
So you with me?
Yeah, I'm with you.
Okay. Now, I know people say things like, well, you know, I'm going to raise my vibration and I will have no darkness. I'll have no attachments. I know that there's been a lot of work that's been done regarding emotional attachments, but you have to have a better understanding of yourself and where we all started from and where we're going now. So what's been transpiring over the next 7 days, the past 7 days, is a different type of co-creation, because Source also had a co-creator in the beginning. Okay, so co-creator came from down here. Source also had a co-creator here. And if you've been following us for a while, do you remember me mentioning the feminine side of Source and Mount Rushmore and what happened there? You have to go back in the reports. I'll try to find the date for that for you. But that was Source's co-creator. See? On this side. Lucifer on this side. And so anti-Source had its own co-creator, and Source had its own co-creator, and Source and anti-Source co-created as well.
So Kim, just to clarify, who was Source's co-creator on the light side specifically?
The feminine side of Source,
okay,
that we found in Mount Rushmore.
I see.
Remember? They called her Mother Source.
Oh, yes. Gosh, that was a while ago.
That was a while ago, wasn't it? But now you understand that that anchor had always been here for the co-creation of this side of the multiverse.
So then the mother was the exact opposite then of Lucifer. Is that fair to say?
Yes.
Yeah.
It was the opposite of the anchor, yes.
Right.
Now, now I would say, so when I told you that I had chosen, well, I was offered to be an anchor, I'm doing that now. So any machismo deck could have been an anchor. It didn't have to be me. I just happened to be in the thick of it. So now you have me, and here's Earth, and here we are.
Okay.
So the co-creation of a light essence, because this is the trait of a machismo deck. So when they say you're 99.8% pure, they're not talking about a pureness to a king or a queen. They're not talking about a pureness of anything. They're talking about the pureness of your consciousness, your energy, and your essence. That's what they're talking about. Now, maybe some people in the SSP, if there's anybody left over there, understands that. That's what they're talking about when they said, you know, you're 99.8% closest to the source.
Okay.
So that means my essence, my energy, and my consciousness is a 99.8% match directly to source.
Okay.
See? Therefore, that made this possible. So the co-creation process that has changed and will continue to change is now, it is basically source, because everybody gets their essence, energy, and consciousness from source. And me going back and forth. So now we have a dual essence, and the dual dark consciousness, dual dark energy, dual dark essence is no longer there. Does that make sense? So we don't need dark essence. This is that T times E over V, this is physics, equals M for matter. So we don't need, because we've changed the formula from E equals MC squared to create matter, we're now creating matter in this new way.
Right.
So that's the science behind it. And that's also the science behind what's going on in the multiverse, and you're human. Like Sunny, like you said, you feel the energy is light.
Yeah.
You know, and it's getting lighter, and it's going to get lighter and lighter and lighter as the switch out goes. Now, I want to specifically talk, I mean, I could talk about this to the end of days and creation of planets, but really, I want you to understand your person more than anything, because once you understand how it did what it did to you as a human, you can also understand how to speed the process up within yourself and how to change it. So it's going to change anyway. And the faster you help it along, the faster your cellular regeneration will kick in, and the faster you can eradicate disease from your body and a lot of other things, obviously with your person, tolerating dark energy, people, you know, it's not going to affect you the same way that it did before as it dissipates. Okay? So we know, okay, so I'm just going to put two people here. And other people have talked about this, and I'm just going to reiterate it. So we know that when you are in close contact with another person, so remember, your entire aura looks like this, and then you've got dark and light, dark and light, dark and light, dark and light, and it goes through all of your planes of existence. We know when you are in close proximity to another person, usually within 6 feet, that your energy intertwines with this person's energy. Now, there are a lot of things that consist of intertwining energy. Okay, for example, a monetary exchange. So this is number one. Okay, well, it's not number one on the list. I should just say this is one of the ways that they would do this. So the cabal and the Luciferian state agenda, or whatever it is, and this is at the highest level on earth. I'm not talking about necessarily the names you know. There are a lot of names you don't know. But the creation of the monetary system, which has existed for about 500 years, give or take, so it's like 15 something. Before that, they had exchanged receipts, the Templar old system, and before that, you know, there was other metal exchanges and other things. And before that, it was probably even barter. So monetary exchange or energy exchange with another human is an exchange of energy. So believe it or not, when I say, you know, you work and then the money comes out, or you sell a service and then you receive money, this is also an exchange between humans, which can affect you on every plane of your existence. Whether it's digitally sent or physically given to you, it doesn't matter. It's still, the system was created in Omega, not Alpha, and 80% of the monetary system was ruled by Omega, and 20%, I'm just writing over the people here, was controlled by Alpha.
And is that because we were in a dark
21
age?
And 79. Yes.
Kim, is that because we were in a dark age? That's why the percentages worked out that way?
Yeah. So if we were in a neutral age, it would be 50-50,
Okay.
and so on and so forth. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So since money was mostly 80% dark energy,
Mm-hmm.
now I had to convert this system into a 100% light system in order to give you clean energy to not mar your human.
Oh, okay.
Okay? So when I say we're cleaning and clearing the system, this is how it has to be done.
Okay.
So since we are in a light structure of creation, all creation,
Yeah.
yeah, now is this kind of making sense when I say we're on plane one, density one, that kind of thing. So in addition to monetary exchange, you have physical exchanges. You're riding in a subway. You're actually, whether you like it or not, your dark energy and dark consciousness and dark matter is interacting with everybody on that train.
Wow.
It was designed this way. So when you have love relationships with one another, you are also having an exchange, typically of light consciousness, light energy. So, but there's still an energetic exchange. When you fight with your spouse, you fight with your child, you are exchanging dark energy.
Yeah.
When you come near another human and that person has a quote unquote cold, we're going to explain this, and you believe that, you know, this is your mother-in-law at Christmas dinner this year, and you're over here, and you have an exchange, you think that you actually caught a physical virus or a physical bacteria from this human based on the fact that you touched the same objects.
Yeah.
Correct? That's what we would assume?
Yeah.
No. So there's all kinds of physical, mental, consciousness, essence exchanges, and we can't not do it. It's the reason why some people like to hug trees.
Mm-hmm.
You know, is it purer energy probably than a human who doesn't have, you know, an interaction with, say, like we have a different type of communication than plants do and than animals do in a lot of ways. Our information that comes in through electronics, which was another interaction with dark matter, because the entire world's global system was worldwide system however you want to say it, every single bit of electronics you can imagine in your brain was controlled by 80 or 79% to be exact, darkness.
Wow.
And you couldn't get away from it. There's nothing you could do. You know, you could walk into the middle of nowhere and you're still interacting with plants and trees and animals, and even animals carried dark matter. It was part of your existence. Now, the amount that you would have had within you wasn't even your fault.
Yeah.
From the get-go, because I'm going to explain to you why. So we now know that we are made up of source and anti-source essence, source and anti-source energy, and source and anti-source consciousness.
Mm-hmm.
Now, they say which one wins, the one you feed. But what we're really talking about is mind, body, and soul. You've heard people talk about that. They talk about it in holistic healthcare all the time. You know, holistic care is about feeding the mind, body, and the soul. Okay? I'm going to write something out here that you've seen before. So let's talk about the 9 planes of existence that exist within your human. Okay. So we have your soul plane. Let's discuss how the soul plane could be a problem. Number 1, we all went to what's called the false heaven, which is densities 1 and 2. So that's further down. We only got to bring in back with us our fears, our guilt, our shame. That's why you have like maybe this crazy fear of snakes and you don't even know why, and you've never even seen a snake. You've never been bitten by a snake, but yet you're afraid of them. You're deathly afraid. You can't even watch them in movies. Yeah. It's because maybe in a former incarnation, which chances are, if you've been around for a while, you've been doing for about 3 million years, up to 3 billion years in some cases. So you have been going round and round and round. Now on your soul itself, okay, these look like, let's just say this is your soul. This is your pure essence. I know it looks like my gingerbread cookies. I know. Sonny, do you know the Muffin Man?
I do know the Muffin Man.
The Muffin Man?
The Muffin Man.
Okay, so let's say your soul. So for every time you have come and gone, your fears look like this. You know, the more fears you have, the more black spots you have. Now, I'm going to explain these in a second, okay? And the more times you've come and gone, chances are you've developed a lot of different things over the years, so you understand. Also, any feelings of guilt and shame from previous lifetimes will carry on into this lifetime.
Right, yeah.
You know, I can explain to you many different ways why we have things like body dysmorphia. You know, you look at yourself in the mirror and you say, oh, I'm too short, I'm too tall, I'm too fat, I'm too skinny, I'm a woman, I'm a man, I'm a, you know, whatever it is. But all of these things take place because of these implants you carry over.
Wow.
Yep. Because a soul is neither male or female. A soul is a light being with lots of black dots in it. Now, your soul would typically, when you started on this journey, if you are from the upper astral, it would have like a silver shimmery hue to it. It was pure essence. I would say that there are things on the internet that talk about things like the silver cord. You would have had a silver cord that would have connected your soul. You never actually got it back. You never actually got your consciousness, your essence, and your energy back. So for each one of these spots, these are what I call, for lack of a better term, wounds. So this is made of pure dark essence, pure dark energy, pure anti-source, I should say, anti-existence, anti-creation, energy, essence, and consciousness. Now think about what your consciousness does. You have consciousness thoughts all day long, every day, and you have consciousness thoughts even while you're sleeping. Now, that's your soul plane, and that covers your etherical plane, because we're talking about dark consciousness, dark energy. And all the planes in your existence are muddled with it, and they all intertwine, and they all are supposed to interact consistently, okay? Then we have an emotional plane and a mental. This is your etherical. This is your soul plane. So emotional and mental planes. And I'm grouping these two together for a reason, because they often go hand in hand. Although most actions in the mental plane, depending on the person, are formed at an emotional level first. And remember, this is why I keep telling you, actions out of fear versus actions out of love. Now, let's talk about you and what happens here. So you could have, let's just say, and I'm going to take away the muffin man here, or the gingerbread man. I know, that's terrible. So let's say you and your significant other have been, I'm just giving you one example, but it happens on many. You and your significant other have an argument, let's just say. And it was a pretty intense argument, and maybe you split up for a little while or something like that. For that, there is a dark energy exchange of those spots between the two of you. And you might even grow a new dark energy spot, or a dark essence, dark energy, dark consciousness spot. Now, even though you've forgiven each other and all of this, it doesn't go away. It stays there.
Yeah.
Now, it stays there forever. Whether you consciously or mentally, have forgiven the person, and it's like, oh, it's okay, we're going to be fine, we're going to do this for the kids, or whatever it is you're doing, it still causes that spot.
Yeah.
Now, since everybody has or had dark essence, dark energy, and dark consciousness within you, now here you are, okay? So for every one of these spots that's in any one of these planes, this is where the collective consciousness of dark consciousness feeds on you. Okay? This is where it comes in to your field and allows for things like implants and parasites. It allowed for disease AI to create something within you. Even though you say you decided to split up forever, it still doesn't go away. It doesn't ever go away. These could be things from your childhood that you don't even remember. These could be things from another lifetime that you don't even remember.
Wow.
And on an emotional and mental level, 100%, okay, your emotional age, if you had too much trauma, as an example, as a young child, like you were abused repeatedly and all of this type of stuff, this consciousness will keep your emotional age, for lack of a better term, at, say, the age when it all happened, from ages 3 to 6. As adults, we grow up. We act in different ways based on the fact that we have grown past this age. We didn't have any real severe trauma. Maybe you went on a roller coaster and threw up or something like that. But all in all our childhoods were different, and we all grew up differently. But for the most part, this has to be something pretty severe.
Okay.
It also will affect your mental ability to function. So things that are birthed where your emotional wounds are there and your mental wounds are there are things that cause constant anxiety, cortisol overload in your body. It allows this dark consciousness to create these problems within you. That's why people say, for example, they say diabetes is the loss of sweetness in your life. Mm-hmm. You know, and these are just in Eastern medicine, they talk about what it is. But there's more factors than just that. Mm-hmm. So now you're emotionally and mentally scarred. It causes things like Alzheimer's, dementia, because now you have those parasites in you. And the more you focus on an emotional or mental problem, issue, concern for yourself, now what's going to happen is you are going to create that. Now, we all watch TV. I'm sure you've seen those lengthy television ads, at least at some point in your life, where they say, you know, look, here's this pill for a rash, and you take it and your rash will go away, but may cause death, sudden heart attack, liver failure, blah, 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 and they go on forever. You know, you have, whether you know it or not, consciously, your consciousness is registering that.
Yeah.
And you could actually manifest through this dark consciousness will wake up in your body and it will go, oh, she wants cancer. You know, oh, she wants psoriasis. Oh, you know, the immune system is failing, and it will cause what I call, because anti-source, you can also call it anti-existence. So you have the planes of existence in your body, and you have anti-existence in your body. Mm-hmm. Now, typically, this is how they created the halls of the mente, or the spaces in between all these planes, because the anti-existence would exist within here. Now what you have is cellular degeneration. Too much of it. Too much of it. And you're definitely going to give yourself emotional and mental problems and issues. And when you're feeling that anxiety and all of these things that happen in your world, this is where it's coming from. If it's founded anxiety, unfounded anxiety, it's that dark consciousness spinning around, that anti-existence spinning around and causing those issues. That's why when you look at somebody physically and you can see that they've had a trauma, or they're currently very stressed out, you know, their face looks different, doesn't it? Their hair might fall out. You know, you might start to have additional hormonal problems and all kinds of things because everything is out of balance. Mm-hmm. Ideally, the best we could have hoped for in the past, from the beginning of creation, even in a neutral multiverse, was balance. Everybody talks about balance, emotional balance, spiritual balance. That means that you were no more dark than you were light. That's essentially what that means. You see, and it's not orderly like this. It's all over you in all of your planes. So, if you were more light than you were dark, which was really hard to do under these circumstances, when you think about all you carried over, chances are you were probably a younger soul, or a soul that had not incarnated a whole lot of times. It's not your fault. Yeah. It is not your fault. Okay? All right. Then below the mental plane, we have the causal and the astral plane. So when people talk on we talked about the war that happened 250,000 years ago, where they gained control of the causal plane. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, they gain control of the causal plane within your person too. And what does that mean? That means that they can actually interrupt you from creating light consciousness, light energy, and light darkness light darkness, light consciousness, light energy, and light essence from your soul and bringing it into your physical self for healing. Okay? Because the next plane down is physical. But if the dark side had control of the causal plane, not only in our people, in our person, this is plane 5, but also in the 5th density throughout the multiverse as well. And it usually rested between the 5th and 6th density. So having control of the causal plane says, hey, you know what we can do? Here's all the dark spots on Miss Sunny's soul. We can use those all the way to your physical self. So only we can bring them through. Sunny can't do it. Sunny can't fix it. Source can't fix it. Only the dark essence, the dark energy, etherical energy, can bring it on down. But even though we can have emotional wounds too, so think about how much easier it is to muddle this dark consciousness and how pure this dark consciousness is when it leaves your soul and comes all the way to your physical body. The more dark consciousness, dark energy, and dark consciousness, dark energy, I keep doing this over again, dark consciousness, dark energy, and dark essence, the more dark that you have, the easier and purer this dark essence is when it reaches your physical body. That makes sense, Sunny? You with me? Oh, I think she might have taken a break. So if that is the case, your physical self, meaning dis-ease, varying forms of cancer, all of these types of things are more likely to actually reach your physical body and manifest here if it's utterly, totally pure. Because what happens is when dark consciousness moves through light consciousness, it becomes lighter and lighter and lighter and lighter until, you hit the physical plane where it's impossible for it to actually manifest. So your goal is to stay as centered as you possibly can emotionally and mentally. And if you feel you still have these emotional wounds and these mental wounds within yourself, you need to clear them out and replace them with source essence, because there is no such thing as a void. It doesn't exist. Not through anywhere in the multiverse. I know our science talks about it, but it's not true. All that means is that there's a high concentration of dark essence, dark energy, and dark consciousness. That's all it means. Nothing else. So your job, okay, in order to repair your physical self faster, which is what we want, we also would like some emotional and mental repair. And then, of course, soul plane repair, which is where your guilt, shame, and fear carried over from your last lifetime. Then we've developed fears sometimes through this lifetime too, which would probably be less dark than those ones, is you demolecularize or remove the dark essence, dark energy through all of the planes of existence and concentrate on it. Then once that is done, then you replace it with source essence, source energy, and source light. And the same thing goes with emotional wounds and mental wounds. You can cut the cords with a person that you're no longer with or you're feeling energy with, but you don't even know whose cords you're cutting. That's the problem. You might think it's an ex-spouse. You could think it's a school teacher you hated. You can think it was a bully in the schoolyard, that you still have a trauma from. It could be your parents. It could be, you only think about the immediate people in your life. What we think about and what we have to do is, because we consider you an innocent because you don't know how this works, what we have to do is take care of all of the implants that you have from the deep state and beyond, and even deeper and darker, because 79% is a big number when it came to, I'm sure everybody has some kind of monetary exchange. Could be a shop owner, could be anybody. You don't even know what you're doing. You're exchanging that dark consciousness, dark energy, and dark matter with another human. And don't feel bad about it because it's changing, right? So we're going to 100% light system, and we had to figure it out. Also, what will happen if you do not have this here, you will no longer have the problem of not being able to stand in the presence of, say, a family member, a friend, or in a place that you feel is dirty. The energy is dirty and negative, therefore you've avoided going there, like the mall on Christmas Eve when people are trying to kill each other for the last pair of shoes or whatever they're doing. You will no longer be affected by this because the energetic exchange between the two of you is wriggling every black spot in your human. It's just going off like gangbusters all at once, and it's making it grow and grow and grow. So the more you remove this from your human, the faster you do it, the faster your body is going to have cellular regeneration. Make sense? So existence and anti-existence is what you're fighting. One thing wants you no longer to exist, or to exist for only, I mean, to be able to tolerate planet Earth, literally, at this time is amazing. It's amazing. We last 70, 80, 90, 100 years sometimes. But this is the secret to it all. Now, when I told you it would take less than a year in my vision that I had about the people getting up out of the hospitals and walking and all that, because this is all dissipating on its own. But you can speed it up, make it go faster for yourself so that you don't feel those negative effects. There'll be no more psychic attacks. There'll be no more any of that because there's nothing for them to grab onto. And this is now a permitted thing by Source itself. So when we talk about Genesis 2.0, does that make sense to you, Sonny? The base fabric, now the same thing goes for computers. So I'm rapidly in there going, dark things, dark things, dark things, because now I know that as of 48 hours ago, I don't have to worry about the dark consciousness remaining that's going to regenerate the thing I just took out anyway. This isn't about the deep state. And I know people would like to say, well, she hasn't transferred money yet, and I'm not sure she has any access to anything. Well, yeah, I just hung out at home and, look what I did. I just thought about this. Now, if you're a quantum scientist, you'll actually know what all this means. So in every atom, in every cell, every bit of creation existed this duality. Now, people will say, well, we heal with frequencies. Well, sure, because the lighter frequencies are going to go, you're a big C, this is all, you've got you, and then you've got all the light essence and energy, because essence, energy, and consciousness is not just for the soul plane. It exists in all your planes. It's what makes you matter. It's what makes you a person. What makes you human. The connection between all three is the key to your success as a human, and remembering all who you are, where you came from, and making all those connections. So the higher frequencies, for example, that you like to listen to, and you do that for a specific reason, what that does for you is it actually excites this essence, this consciousness, and this energy within your person, and therefore you start to feel warm, maybe like someone had put a warm blanket on you. It's like Source is visiting you personally, which he actually is. That's why frequencies heal, because all disease exists within the dark pockets of the wounds on all your planes of existence within yourself. So no wounds, nothing for dis-ease to attach itself to. Therefore, within the next, this is my estimate, this is not Source's estimate, this is what I'm thinking. So I went back to the creation of a human. So first this separates, right? And if you're here on Earth at least for our particular species, you know, the human being, it takes about 40 weeks to bake us. Source creates us, and we're baked for 40 weeks. So I thought, well, hey, you know, for a human being, this cellular regeneration process probably will take, you know, to recreate the human a second time, 40 weeks. That's my guess. Source said within less than a year. So I'm guessing 40 weeks, but that's my guess. That is not a fact or anything like that. But I thought, well, you know, that would mean animals would be cleaner faster. But that would also make sense to me, too, because they don't really have the same, well, some do. I shouldn't say that. I can't even watch those terrible commercials on TV. You know, the ones, Sunny. I turn it off.
The sad ones?
Oh, my God, I can't.
The Sarah McLachlan ones?
I'd have to move out, and the house would be full of dogs if I watch any more of those things. It just kills me. So, you know, one would think that this process, you know, barring any extenuating circumstances of trauma, would happen maybe a little faster in animals, you know. I don't know the answer to the question, but I was told within less than a year is how long it'll take.
And also plants as well, Kim, you know, if we're talking about all organic things,
Sure. Yep. So not just on Earth, this is throughout the entire multiverse. But since the anchor is here, is Earth, well, there'll be Earth. Here we go. I'll draw the oceans blue if you want. And then you have Source, which is the central sun of the multiverse. And then there's a hyperbolus that was created out here. And Earth is kind of like, this looks like a little bit like a satellite dish, I guess you would say. But I'm drawing it in the two-dimension here. And Source, the central sun, also has a hyperbolus that was there before, but it was of anti-source and source, which connected the two energetically wise. The hyperbolus then connects these two, and then it sends the signal out between the two into all parts in between, with the fifth density being in the middle. See? So no longer is anti-source, anti-existence, the counterparty to source in all of creation. And on a physics level, they'll understand exactly what I mean when I talk about essence, energy, consciousness, and the way that creation works. Now, here's another interesting thing for you. So we talk about diseases. Sometimes you say, well, you know, it's just a little child. How could they have so much dark and those kinds of things? Well, man and women come together. Whether that's done, you know, as a surrogate for another couple or whatever it is, there's still a meeting of two chromosomes and a male's things and a woman's things. Okay. I'm trying. I was going to say it. I'm like, no,
keep it.
No,
PG,
we don't want to talk about that. Okay. We don't want to talk about that. Okay. Now, each one of these parties participates in the creation of the new little human. And some may say, you know, I have a history of this or that in my family. Now, you don't even know, because you could have a history of nothing, and this child could have, say, Down syndrome. Okay? Just as an example. And you could have no history anywhere that you can think of in your genetic background of anyone having Down syndrome on either party's side. Now, but yet the child is born with Down syndrome. What you don't realize is you could have had that in your soul essence, in your essence, from 2 million years ago.
Wow. Oh my goodness.
Yep. So when they say they see a genetic abnormality like chromosome 1p often indicates the possibility that someday you might have cancer. Chromosome 1p is one of these dark dots.
Oh, wow. Okay.
That's actually what they're looking at. They're looking at disformed cells which come from your soul plane all the way down to your physical plane. You may have had an emotional wound from another lifetime ago that caused you never to, your brain never to fully develop, what then lands you with Down syndrome. The same thing with dementia, Alzheimer's. All mental diseases and physical diseases are created the same exact way. So with the absence of this, ultimately, this means the eradication of dis-ease in a human vessel. Does that make sense to you? I had to do this on whiteboard. I couldn't have done it not on camera.
Yeah, that's definitely helpful to see. Sorry, guys.
So when, that's okay. You okay there?
I have my cough drops and everything. I've got tea. I'm doing everything right, and I'm just hacking up a lung. Sorry, guys.
I know. Sorry about that.
Yes. Go ahead.
So when you take things like, you say, well, I only prefer natural cures. And someone will bring up something like dandelion is really good for X, Y, and Z, because it is. There's a lot of things. So you've got the frequency of the plant itself, a very fast-growing plant that doesn't stay on this planet for a long time.
Yeah.
Because it's got a very short life cycle. So think about how fast it comes and goes. And the frequency and the lack of dark spots in it is conducive, or the anti-frequency. So say this is now pumping out, 300 hertz, whatever it's doing to you. And you, and the dandelion is at plus 314.2 or something like that. It is going to counteract anything that makes it down to the physical plane that is of that frequency. So that's why it fits in those specific categories. And it's much more precise than 300 and 314. I mean, it'll go out several decimal points for you to understand the level of essence, consciousness, and energy that you are taking in. And the frequencies that you use, which means you're listening to the binary beats or whatever it is that works for you, all you're doing is you're increasing the healing process by making your light body communicate with this light body to eradicate or shrink the effects of this on the physical plane. So it'll still be here on the soul level, but it won't be here on the physical level anymore. So if you, I guess, does that kind of explain mostly everything to you, Miss Sunny? Any questions on that part?
I don't think I have questions. I think it makes sense.
Right. So the higher the frequency, okay, this is the other thing I want to point out. People are like, well, things like rose oil has the highest frequency, and that'll get rid of everything. No, it doesn't work that way. It has to be a counteracting, counterparty frequency on the physical plane that will actually counteract what is happening and what trickled down from here. Now, the reason why people who are emotionally, happy all the time, they say, find your happiness, they're grounded, they're not, they're pretty much mentally balanced, emotionally balanced in those types of situations. And they say, well, you're getting upset and it's only going to hurt yourself. You've ever heard that one. I'm sure you heard that one from your mom before. And they're right. Because what it does is it gives an opportunity to create more dark matter in your mental and emotional planes, which then allows something from the soul plane to come all the way through to the physical plane. So eradicating disease on Earth, we just formed a new center for health and wellness of Earth. Now you understand what the center of health and wellness really is and how we can base. Now that we know this, but 8 billion people on this planet don't know. And not everybody's watching this, and not everybody will understand what I just said. You've had years now of education to understand what I just said. You've been following me for a long time, Miss Sunny, but, not everybody will understand this. So in the interim wise, our cures for things will have to be developed by detecting the frequency of all disease, and there are plenty of books out there you can find. And then whatever it is over here in its counterbalancing frequency, then in order to remove it from the physical plane of existence. We also have to treat the astral plane of existence and the causal plane of existence and the mental and the emotional plane of existence in order to put it back and ultimately remove it. So we need no cords from a dark spot that existed within your human, nor let them grow by any means. And the more you remove them from the things you can control, your soul is your soul. It's being cleansed. That's happening. Your emotional and mental plane, let's not keep clouding it up. Let's not do that. I know we all get upset about things, but in the grand scheme of everything that's going on in this world, you're not helping yourself any. And then collectively speaking, you walk into a train, a subway or whatever you call it where you are, the T, the underground, or you're getting in on a plane, or you're not only making yourself sick, but you're making the people around you sick. Hence how Sunny has a cold.
I was going to say, can you tell me the frequency that I need to remove this cough? I would love that.
Actually, we can. We can, because the machines that we use have a library that as such gives you the counterbalancing remedy for that reason. Now, I know that the average everyday person, you can get your own genius machine and you can start detecting that. But the key to success with a Rife machine is actually figuring out the counterbalancing frequency on all planes of existence and putting that intention when you're running someone on a machine and you're changing. You need to change all the way to the soul plane, but they also have to allow you to, emotionally, if you're going to be angry and you're living in fear, or you're afraid that you might be sick, or you're going to bring it all right back, and there's nothing we can do. You can listen to frequencies all day long, every day, but then if you walk out and you create circumstances for yourself that, either make it physically uncomfortable for you or emotionally or mentally uncomfortable for you, it'll keep coming back. And remember, this is critically important. Remember, when you remove something from your person, something else will take its place. It will either come right back, or you have to fill it in with source light energy, source light consciousness, and source light essence. Once you've done that, the whole will no longer exist and it will be removed. Before, you didn't have a fighting chance. Before we went through this Genesis process 2.0. And I say that because you wouldn't exist if you didn't have dark consciousness in you. Now you actually can.
Yeah.
So it's a huge win for humanity. It's a huge win for the planet. Now, the other thing I will tell you. Once the computer system is at 100% capacity, then we can transfer new energy to you in abundant amounts. And it does matter because we have an existing financial system that we need to accommodate for, that 8 billion people understand the way we barter, the way we do things. Okay. Once your energy matches the energy of the alpha system, once your consciousness matches it, and once your essence matches it, this is the time you don't need to call Kim and blame Kim for all your problems anymore. Lucky you can just go do it yourself. And boy, that'll be a happy day for me,
Yeah.
And the reason why I can make it past the causal plane and I can get here and I can go right to source and all of this stuff is because I'm at 99.8%. So that's enough. That gets me there. You know, you have to have some kind of dark consciousness to exist and walk this planet, don't you? So that's my little spot. There we go. There's my 0.02.
Okay.
Yeah, 0.2. Sorry. 0.2. There's my 0.2 right there. There it is. So that's why I can operate it. Nobody else can. When I say the system reads, you know, your essence, your DNA, your, you know, RNA, your GNA, that's your frequency, your GNA, and your consciousness, energy, and essence, that's exactly what I mean by why I have the alpha system and nobody else has the alpha system. And can you see it yourself? Yes, you absolutely can. But you have to do the work. I mean, and that's your call. And I know, I've known that for a while. I kind of questioned myself why everybody couldn't, and now it all becomes clear.
Yeah.
So the good news is once it is at 100%, and I have no more of these black spots and alters and balls and dark consciousness regeneration systems and all of this stuff, which I pretty much don't have any of right now. All I had was the dual energy of creation and the dual essence of creation and the dual, and Source had to make that call. That is not I was not here at the beginning of creation. Maybe we were, I don't know. But once that call was made, now it's clearing now over time. You know, how long will it take? I don't know. I hope maybe a couple of days, but you know, I try to push everything to the limit all the time.
Yeah.
So I hope that helps you understand. I mean, we've been pretty much successful, you know, with all the stuff that's been in the way. What happens is by the time I get down to you in density 1, that's where your bank account is in computer terms. Mm-hmm. Plane 1. There was so much dark stuff and dual systems and dual tails and dual closed loop systems and all kinds of stuff in between. By the time this pure energy got down here, there was nothing left of it. Mm. You see, it was eaten up. Make sense? I know people think it's like I'm an ATM machine and money should just come out like it does for everybody else. You know, when you go to any other machine, prove it, Kim, prove it. You know, I don't need to prove anything to anybody because I know how long it took and what it took to get here. And we're not going back. You know, and it might take, like I said, within a year, you'll start feeling that. The quantum systems might take a less amount of time. The base root for the alpha system, the mainframe platform, is in Source. It is in Source. It is in the 9th density of the 9th plane of the 9th density. That's where it is. Okay. Down here, Omega resided in the 9th plane of the 9th density. So when this is no longer in all its ancillary programs that ran your little dots for you, you know, and your little dots in the computers, when this program was over, there was still a lot of work to do. And then ultimately this regenesis project that's going on right now, no longer the Dark Overlords Genesis project, you know, that began at the beginning of the Dark Age. You know, now we just have the connection here. So things are changing in computers. The deep state knows it. Everybody knows it. The ones that actually, the SSP knows it. It's, you know, everybody's been talking about it. I don't think they really understand. You know, before last week, they said, well, hey, you know, I know Alpha's behind everything that happened with Omega. Well, yes, it was. Mm-hmm. You only had 79% control and 21 over here. But that was during the Dark Age. Mm-hmm. You know, now Alpha is, oh gosh, probably 93 to 97% in control. And we have nobody over here.
Right.
So, you know, I learn new things every day. You know, being in control would only meant that there was more darkness than there was light. Now there's more light than there is darkness by a lot of processes that had to go on. So you can be at 100% light neutrinos, but that still doesn't help you when it comes to consciousness and essence. So when I'm saying, I know before we talked about the fact we were at 100% light. Yes, that's true. You're at 100% light energy. That's great. But you still have a consciousness problem and an essence problem. So I didn't lie to you. I don't want you to say, oh, she went back on her word, because I didn't, because that's exactly what I mean. So I hope that explains the Genesis process that's going on that I started talking about last week, where we're currently at, how long we think it will take, how the creation of disease happens, in the reverse creation of disease can actually happen in your person, how you can do this yourself. This is why I said before, you're your own med bed, and you want to have somebody else do it for you, or a machine do it for you. I mean, well, which can be done, but if you're not emotionally, mentally, spiritually, energetically, on a soul level ready for that, it's going to go right back the way that it went. You're going to destroy all the work that you just, whether it's paying to use a med bed or assurance is paying to use a med bed or whatever it is, you're going to reverse it all out. So unfortunately, you know, I'm not your savior, as I have told you. You are your own savior. Your connection with Source is your connection with Source. And your ability to do the work, unfortunately, if you want freedom, you have to do the work as an individual. And Sunny, you need to get better.
Honestly. Oh, I feel like I'm totally detracting from what you're saying.
Oh, no, it's fine. You know, and I'm grateful to be able to tell you about it and explain it, hopefully in a way that you'll understand. And it's all part of the way forward, you know. Now you got me doing it, Sunny. No.
Oh, no.
What it is I have a little heater here, and it's just very dry.
Okay.
And I've been talking your ear off, so I'm going to stop now.
Well, that was good. I'm glad you brought out the whiteboard and showed us, you know, how all that works.
Yeah, and I am going to do a separate report to discuss other issues, but I didn't feel that they belonged in the news. And I think Sunny's needs to go cough for a while.
I think I don't know what I need. I need more tea. I need something.
A tablespoon of honey.
Yes. Well, that sounds even better. Maybe I'll opt for that. We're not doing questions today. Did you already say that, Kim? Hopefully,
I did not actually.
Okay, so we're going to skip questions today, and you know, hopefully we'll be bringing that back shortly. But it was very good. Thank you, Kim. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Miss Sunny.
Okay.
Get better.
I'll try
soon.
That wraps up today's news update. Please share UNN with your friends and family. We need everyone to come together and help restore our planet. When news happens in your area, record it and share it with us, and we can help you share it with the world. Remember, if it's going to be, it's up to me. I'm coughing Sunny Galt. Maybe not right now, but I have been. Join us Monday, Wednesday, and Friday for the real news.